Alright, this past weekend I went to a flea market in Dublin, Virginia. This is probably the last one, probably until spring and stuff, around here in this area. And didn't have the problems I had with the last Hillsville flea market trip. You saw that where I was starting to get recognized and it's kind of getting kind of weird. Don't feel like I really got great deals. But this one was pretty good. The things going on though is down in this area. I moved in this area about a year and a half ago, give or take a few months, and I'm starting to see the same dealers. I'm recognizing them, so I don't have to go through all their stuff because they're dragging around the same stuff to all the flea markets around here. But I did find some really good things, and I did recognize a lady and her boyfriend, husband or something. He sets up, he sells old toys, she sells comics. She's set up all over a place called Roanoke, Virginia, with some antique shops. And I started seeing her around. She gives you really great deals. I mean, it's not really hard to haggle at all with her. Anyway, first place that I hit, actually I was kind of bored at this one. I mean, I looked around and stuff, and there was one section that apparently a few months ago I went to this flea market. Apparently they have it twice a year, beginning of summer, beginning of fall. And there's a guy that he's set up inside of a tin building, and he has comic books there and stuff. And I bought some stuff off of him, and stuff I didn't buy I kind of kept in one pile and stuck in the back of a box. Well, here it is months later, and I go back, and it's still there. So I didn't really have to dig through his stuff. I know what he had, and I already had my stuff separated, if you followed all that. So that's what I'm trying to say. I got through this one pretty quick, got some pretty good deals. First thing I'm going to show you some paperbacks real quick. Guy that was selling these paperbacks, he just had all kinds of VHS tapes and clamshells, and he had these barrels of sci-fi novels. Just really good stuff, and I just went through and picked a few. They were 50 cents a piece. I picked up 3. I said, will you take $1 for 3? He was like, yeah, no problem. I whipped out my last 20, and he was just kind of like, just take them. He didn't want to bust a 20. Nice guy, I'm sure, but so I got these for free. First thing I got is the Sword Trilogy by Michael Moorcock. This is from the early 70s. It's in one volume. They take the 3 novels: the King of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the Knight of Swords. This is the story of Corm, who's an eternal champion, who is another version of Elric in the multiverse. If you follow all that, I'm a fan of Moorcock. I've never read the stories of the Prince in the Red Cloak. I think that's his nickname. Anyway, but it's Corm. He's the last of his race, and he gets, first thing that happens to him is pretty much get his hands chopped off, and he gets an eye dug out, and then he's sort of saved, and then the story begins. So I was real excited to find that for free. A 1973, I think, printed edition of adaptation of Battle of the Planet of the Apes, based on the movie. And when I did my Land of the Lost video a few weeks ago, I mentioned a guy named David Gerald in there, and mentioned I think Hippie's Collectibles popped in there and chimed in too, and probably told me a little bit more about him. But apparently this guy wrote Star Trek. He wrote some Land of the Lost TV. Apparently this is one of those sci-fi guys I might have to do some research on, because he's popping up everywhere now. So that was really cool, and I love that cover. Battle for the Planet of the Apes. This was so cool. I like my Planet of the Apes like some people like Star Wars. And then this was really cool to find. This is the unabridged first version of Tarzan of the Apes, alright, by Edgar Rice Burroughs. And yes, this is a used library copy, but the whole thing is laminated. Alright, so this thing is going to, practically going to last forever. I mean, I love the cover. I've already read 2 or 3 chapters in it. I haven't read the first novel in like 25 years. I'm getting old. So it was really cool, and I'm reading it now that I started reading this stuff. I can already tell, I'm grasping a few things better that I didn't quite get. I can visualize it better, So anyway, then another thing I got, it's a trade of, the comic strip. One blank now. It's right in front of me. Grimm, Mother Goose and Grimm. Sorry. And this is where there's kind of like a a little satire take on the fairy tales and stuff, so really like that. And what's cool is on the inside, it's got about 16 pages of the colored Sunday strips. And back in the day when I don't know who still does it. I don't know. I'm probably preaching to the choir with some of you guys, but back in the day you'd get the Sunday funnies, and that's the only day they were in color. All the other days you had a little strip in the little black and white section of a newspaper. Alright, now onto the comics, man, and we'll go pretty quick. First thing I got now, where am I at here? Okay, that goes over there. Alright, I'll probably dig through here anyway. This is one of the 3 for $1, okay? The lady was selling them for 50 cents a piece. She had a couple boxes of comics, and I've known this lady and saw her around. And I'd get a stack the first time, say this much for this, and get it. Went back a second time, and she looked at me and she cut me the deal. She already knew where I was going. I think she like took $5 off the second time around, and a couple of dollars off that I said the first time around. And I know on the way home I was doing the math in my head, or I was walking around the flea market, and I got it down to 3 for $1. So all these are 3 for $1. Ronin number 6 by Frank Miller. You know, a little bit of a beat up copy, but that's all right. That's all right. It's cool. But what was cool about this is that the last panel, and this is in 1983. The last panel folds out and folds out into this big wave of destruction that Frank Miller is putting in the story. And as we flip it around here and we pull the back cover off and we see the rest of the panel, this is what we get. Time to get it pop up. So I thought that was really cool, really innovative. Alright. And no, I didn't spoil anything there. You have to read the story to even understand what that meant. Alright. Right here we got some Guardians of the Galaxy. Back in the day, when my brother would come down and visit on the weekends and stuff, he would get Guardians of the Galaxy, I would get She-Hulk, he would get Quasar, I would get Justice League, and we'd read them back and forth like that. So for years I thought I had these, and basically, you know, me and my brother were tag teaming on this stuff. These were 3 for $1. Number 12, number 11, yeah, another Phoenix, yeah. Number 7 with a George Perez inked cover. Look at that. Got Perez on there. This is probably around the time he was doing Infinity Gauntlet, or was getting ready to come out. I think he was probably hanging around then. And this one's got me perplexed. Okay. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy, okay? It's number 5. I just now thought about it. Now that I'm doing the video, I was going to look it up first. But this is Jim Valentino and Todd McFarlane inking. The other one was Jim Valentino with George Perez inking. Let me clarify that. But he says, after Kirby, after the King. And usually, you know, I can kind of like get a glimmer, or I can, you know, get an idea here and stuff, and I want to say it was like maybe an Avengers cover, but I'm completely blank on what cover of Kirby's this is a tribute to. So if anybody out there knows, please put it in the comments. I'm being serious, okay? It's going to drive me nuts. It's going to drive me nuts. Alright, continuing with 3 for $1. We've got Dread Rules. This is some Garth Ennis, okay? Judge Dredd stories, which is pretty cool, man, from Fleetway Comics. Which I've always kind of wanted to read, you know, because the trick with Garth Ennis is that he does not like superheroes. He thinks Green Lantern is the most silly thing in the world and stuff. I don't see a year on that, but it's really cool to find this. So this is some of his, you know, I think these were reprinted out of 2000 AD, if I'm right. I'm not sure. There are a couple of short stories. Yeah, that didn't come out of there. Alright, I don't know why I got this. This was an impulse buy. This is pretty common. Hulk 425, anniversary issue there with a hologram cover. Yeah. Alright, really glad to find these because I have them in trade, but I wanted them because I'm an Alan Davis fan. This is Fantastic Four: The End. Alright, this is the final story of the Fantastic Four, written and drawn by our man Alan Davis, with Mark Farmer doing inks, man. And I tell you what, man, Alan Davis's writing ability really amazes me, okay? I mean, he's wrote, you know, quite a few things that really surprised me, and this is one of them, man. This is a really great story. Regs and the Inhumans, you know, goes back to, you know, it feels like old Marvel. It feels like old Marvel where it should have gone, okay? Namor and Sue have a few words, and a lot of this stuff harkens back to the beginning, man. It's almost like there's a few things in it that touched to the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby days. You know, and for their last story, this is really cool. And there for a while, Marvel was putting out a lot of the end stories, the end of the X-Men, like it was supposed to be their last story. And this one was the one that I found a trade for at a at a Books A Million for like, I don't know, it's probably like $2 or $3, and I was blown away with it. So when I saw these and got them, you know, 3 for $1 there. All right, and this is the one where I went back and forth. I bought a few issues of the run, and I started walking around. I'm like, well, you know, it's Bendis, it's Warren Ellis, it's Jay Lee doing art and all that stuff, and I picked out what I thought was cream of the crop to begin with, man. But these were all 3 for $1. Ultimate Fantastic Four #1, number 4. Got some holes in here. See if I can do this without the glare. All right, number 5. Number 7, like I said, there's a few holes here. Number 8, you know, Warren Ellis comes on board there. Number 9, Ultimate Fantastic Four. Number 10, number 11, for you guys that collect Marvel Zombies or collect Ultimate Fantastic Four, you might be knowing where this is going. 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, all 3 for $1, 33 1/3 cents. 16, 17, 18. I got these because you know, Jay Lee did some art in there. You know what's coming next? You know what's coming? More Jay Lee art. And if I'm right, number 21. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm pretty sure memory is serving me right. The first appearance of the Marvel Zombie universe, which, you know, Mark Millar and Greg Land came on there and they did. This was a 3-part story called Crossovers. This was a pretty hot book for a while. But yeah, 33 1/3 cents. It's the only one I bagged out of all of them. There's number 22, part 2 of it, and I don't have part 3. That's alright. But we go on and on, 24, 25. And I really hope this series is good, or I'm just going to stick it on eBay. 27. Start getting some of the Ultimate Avengers in there. 28. 29. Isn't this so exciting? 30. We got some zombies and Doctor Doom. And the annual. And I got this one because it has Jay Lee art in it. So, you know, it's really good to find his stuff. Alright. Continuing with the 3 for $1, if I'm remembering right here. Went back and got these. How could I not? I had a bunch of issues of this. I sold them about a year ago, and it turned out one of my friends ended up buying them from the comic book shop that were selling them for me. This is some 80s independent stuff, Eclipse comics. Tim Truman does sort of a post-Holocaustic America in the future with an Apache, which is really cool. It has just a touch of mysticism in it. And I flipped through these. I have the first 5 issues here, and what I thought was really interesting is that I got to get in there and read them. I don't know if there's been a nuclear war stuff or anything like that, but what I was picking up on is that the world kind of felt like it turned against us, and it's like levied us on everything. Like they're not sending us supplies and stuff. And scouts running around just raising hell and doing some really good stuff. I'm trying to remember what his name was, man. It doesn't really have like what would sound like would be an Apache name, but these were like in mint condition. I could not pass them up. You know, books that are closer to 30 years old in mint condition from a dead company, you just never know what's going to happen. You know, very good stuff. Tim Truman, I think, is an art teacher now. He's from West Virginia. That's what always kind of cracked me up. One of my buddies told me that. So that's a pretty good series. It looks like how many did I get? Yeah, 6. I got the first 6. Great stuff. Great stuff. And then these were 3 for $1. Now they had Ghost Rider comics there from the Bronze Age, and they had Dracula. And the Ghost Rider were just, even for 30 cents a pop, they were still a little bit beat up. And I remember reading those, and they were hit or miss when I was a kid. When I was reading my uncle's collection or my stepdad or whoever had them. But I've got a few of these, and you know, it's a horror comic from the 70s, so I ended up getting a few issues of these. And these are out of order. There's number 39. These are by Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, and Tom Palmer. Tom Palmer is my favorite inker. Number 22. And these are, you know, not mint by any means, but, you know, definitely nothing to sneeze at. 61. Yeah, 63. And 54. So I'm really glad to get those. And, you know, that stuff from the 70s is definitely drying up. And there's even a few things from the 80s starting to dry up. But anyway, there's my haul. Forgot a stack. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is the stuff that I had piled up in the box. The guy was telling you about the beginning of the video who's in the tin building. And I bought some stuff off of him a few months ago. and stuff I couldn't afford or just didn't know if I wanted or not, I kind of stuck in the back. So I didn't really have to dig too much through his stuff. But I ended up getting these, and I think I got this whole thing, 2, 4, 6, 5, for $5, which is fine. By that time I was just ready to go. But innovation from the early 90s. This is Dark Shadows #2. I'm always keeping an eye out for some innovation books. They had Forbidden Planet that they adapted, the old 50s movie. That's actually a retelling of The Tempest by Will Shakespeare with Robbie the Robot. I think it's who his name was. They had some good stuff. A little bit bland. I got the Vampire Lestat that they did in the back room and trade. But the Dark Shadows are the ones that I've never really ran across. And then this is from Tundra. I believe this is the Madman's first miniseries. This is #2 of 3, which is really cool. And if I got it out of the bag and showed, yeah, I want to do it. What was very cool about it is that, Mr. Allard here, to make it a little bit more fun and snappy, he gave you flip book action down here in the corner, like books I had when I was a kid. And if I can do this right, alright, you get a Dancing Madman. Which is kind of cool. And I'm just kind of wondering, this is #2 of 3. But I remember reading this when it came out, and I think it was in trade by that time, and I'm not sure if it was this miniseries. Like I said, I haven't done my research on this yet. I'm doing by memory here, but what got me about the Madman is that here's this little book that's trying to be snappy and different and kind of way out there, and the guy's name's Frank Einstein, Frank Einstein, and all this stuff, and all of a sudden he's laying in the field, and Madman is laying in the field talking to God, looking up in space. It got really retrospective there. Alright. Got another one of these. This is Star Slayer #1, which is, they say, the first appearance of the Rocketeer. So, shout out to Hal Depot 2 for waking me up to that. I found another one and went ahead and bought it. And then I got another one of these. These are Whitman books. These are sci-fi stories, adventures in sci-fi, and I think they adapt some older guys, John W. Campbell, Raymond C. Bates, and stuff. They only made a few of these, so this is the second one that I have of Starstream from the 70s. Really good stuff, Alright, so that's my haul, so thanks for hanging in there. Catch you guys later.